All right, so we are going to, we're gonna create today. We are gonna do some, I have some oxidized sterling here that I just use as an example or like samples. But I'm gonna grab one of these and I'm actually gonna do a bracelet. We're going to connect some hematite beads to a chain. And so what is permanent jewelry? I mean, people, it's like, it just, the wording is right. What it is, it's permanent. It's like semi-permanent. So permanent obviously is supposed to last forever. Permanent jewelry can last a really long time, you know, but really nothing lasts forever. So it is a very, very lovely, very creative way to express yourself. And one thing that's really cool about it is that you can, oh, I have two different chains on here, so I combine this right here. So I've got like a little starburst paper clip, and then I have a tiny bit of Figaro there at the end. Let's see if I can get it where you can see it. You can like literally make your own 100% custom made creation with permanent jewelry. And I have here some links that I made up. So it's really cool. You can get links that are pre-made, or you can customize. And I really like, to some extent, I really like to customize. Not everything's a winner, right? There's some things that maybe aren't as cool, but you know, sometimes you come up with some really cool stuff. So I'm going to pick from this selection that I've already created a few options that I think might look good with this chain, that this oxidized silver chain that I have here. And so the way that we do this in here, in our office or in our studio, is we just really, we play. We lay things out, we play. And so if I were going to be looking to see, let me see if you can see this. Let me back you up a little bit. If I were looking to see like what I wanted to put on my person, I would lay them out and I would play. And so that's what we're going to do. So if you wanted to get just a permanent jewelry bracelet, it would just, you would choose it like this. You would just get it welded on just like this, right? And we would weld the jump ring with the chain around your wrist, your ankle, your neck, etc. Well, really, there's not a lot more. Wrist, neck, ankle. Some people do belly chains. But in order to see what we like, what we'll do, if we're going to use connectors, now this already has a gold link, so that's going to be a no, right away. Just this one specifically, because that's how this one was made. But that clover could still work, so we could always custom make a little, just a plain old clover in silver that would look really cool. But let's go with the silver that we already have. Now I could do oxidized rings, but sometimes that little bright silver really sticks out nicely. So that's one option. You know, we could go with a hematite and mother of pearl like connector, or just straight up hematite. And I think I actually like the hematite, but, and this is in gold, so I'd have to remake it into as a sterling silver one. But what I really like is I like the way that there's a little bit of pink in this oxidized silver. So that pink would really bring out the sort of the red tone in that garnet, or the garnet actually brings out the pink in that chain. So I'm going to pull this away for just a minute, and we are going to look at this with like a yellow gold chain. So this is one I've just been playing with. And so this one has, I've been playing with satellite beads on this one, so just ignore that. But anyway, so that's kind of the gist of it. So you get to really pick out what you like. And what's kind of fun, so I'm not like a big believer in like crystals, but I do think I like the symbolism of crystals. So garnet is like a birthstone for January. I don't know if it has any sort of symbolism, but there are some that have like the carnelian is a singer's stone and stuff like that. So I really like that, just because it kind of reminds you of maybe your intention or your goals or whatever. But you can see how nicely this goes with the gold connectors right there. It goes really well with that gold. So if I wanted to do this, which I don't right now, I would make this connector with some sterling silver ends, with the rings and the beads and stuff like that in silver, so it really pop. I'm not going to do that today, so I'm actually going to go ahead and go with the straight up hematite, because I think it's better than the combination. I don't love that, and I think I like that. Anyway, so we're going to do a quick weld. I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. So I'm going to get my silver rings. Actually, my silver rings are on there. I forgot. And I'm going to go ahead and connect these. I'm going to connect this to the chain. And then we're going to do a quick weld. So I just have to open up the ring, connect it to the end, and I'm going to go ahead and leave that Figaro on here for now. Because, you know, this as a bracelet, it might be too long for someone, but we're just playing. So we're going to close this guy up right here. And then if you were doing a permanent piece, we would then have your arm, your wrist right here. I don't do ankles under my microscope because it's just impossible. And then we would have your wrist right here. And then we would close up the jump ring with the chain around your wrist. But I'm going to go ahead and just close it up like this. And we're going to do a quick weld on each of these. And so I have to use my little grounded hemostats. And then I'm going to see if I can leave this where you can see it. Hopefully you can see that. So let me just get my welder set where I need it. Typically that is where I have it for this kind of a... Oops, I have to move it to where I can see it. Let me move you. Okay. So we're just going to do a quick weld, if I can see correct or see well enough. And misfire. So that one. I'm going to turn that up. I didn't clean my tip very well, so I'm going to have to crank this up just a little bit to get it to give me a nice weld. That's pretty good. Let me peek at it. And then, while on the arm, we would do, we would then secure that final jump ring weld with the piece on your person. So let me get this where I need it. You have to find those jump rings. And let me clean, I'm going to clean off my welder tip real quick here. What do we call that thing? It's not a needle, whatever it is. I'll tell you what, it's a pokey thing for sure, because I always poke myself. And then we're going to do that second weld. And that was much nicer. And that's it. So then you have on your person a permanent jewelry piece that looks like that, right? And so since this is big enough, I might be able to slip it over my hand, and then you can see what it would look like. So what happens with the oxidized silver is it'll polish a little bit with wear, so that it won't be just solid oxidized. It will actually have like highlights of silver, and then the parts of the chain that don't really get a lot of contact, with your clothes or whatever, are going to stay that sort of gunmetal tone. But that's what that ends up looking like. And so we weld it on just like that, and then that's kind of the gist of it. So that is a hematite. Hematite, I think those are 4mm beads, so those are genuine stone, little silver jump ring, and then some oxidized silver chain. So that is the gist of it.